Hello everyone. Our today's webinar is about DevOps, a cultural change. So it is hosted by AgiVetta Consulting, and I'm Sajur Rahman. I'm a software architect. I'm currently working in a American software company. Uh, these are some of my achieved degrees, like MCP from Microsoft, and then some Scrum Alliance, CSP, CSM, CSB, and CSPO. And also, I have completed the Safe Agilist. So let's start and talk about DevOps cultural change for few times. And as you can see, like it will be a one-way session, so I will talk about and show the presentation. But if you have any questions, so you can actually there is a question tab here, so you can post your question at the end of the session. I will try to attend those questions, and also you can contact me directly later if you have anything to know about my presentation. So today's agenda is like we are going to talk about what is DevOps and what is not DevOps. That is one important topic, because sometimes I saw that people actually get confused that actually which part is belongs to DevOps. So I'll talk about what is not DevOps also, and then we will have some short discussion on CI and CD. Okay, so let's start. First one is like what is DevOps? Like Dev and Ops actually are two integral part of the software building process, but actually normally when they work separately, they are actually focused on some different objectives. Like Dev team has some different objective, and Ops team has totally some different objective. So what are those? So for Dev team, actually they actually focus on delivery and speed. So let's look closely at what happens in a typical development company. Scrum team or dev team is actually focused on delivering features faster. At the ends of each sprint, they are expected to deliver potentially shippable increment of the product. So actually what they do is, like, once they're done, there's a wall which actually separates the dev team and ops team. So once they're done, they're just throwing it over the wall and start the next sprint. What happened to it afterwards, it's not their concern, because according to them, they are actually done with their work. And at that time, the ops team comes into the picture. So what's their focus for the development purpose? Their focus is on the stability and reliability. So actually life isn't pretty. So escalation procedure, on-call pager duty, monitoring, everything to ensure that current system that generates revenue are stable. But it doesn't happen like that all the time. So operation team is focused on keeping the lights on. Operations resist change. They know when all these increments accumulate in operations, they can cause deployment issue and lead to post-deployment fires in production. And they need to fix those. But what happens then? Like, the dev team will say that it is not a development problem. We are done with our code. We have already built the product. We have delivered. So actually, it's not our problem. And on the same time, operation team will say that actually it's dev team's problem. We are not responsible for that. So at that time, the low trust actually comes between all those teams. So, like, why do you care about trust? Because in its absence, we tend to introduce extra validation steps for each handoff in the value stream. So at that time, there will be, like, if there is a trust issue, all of these steps, which is like essential for the software to become an incremental shippable delivery, all those gets hampered. And then it needs to be there is a bug, you need to be reopen the issue, there is a redeploy, there is a rebuild, there is redevelop and everything, and there is a retest and then re-release. So every step will take more time for that. So to solve this thing, actually it doesn't have to be this way always. So that's why the DevOps comes into the picture. So here is one of the definition. Like, you will find like thousands of different kind of definition in internet if you search. But this one is the one I'm iterating, that DevOps is the union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery of value to our end user. Here, actually, I am very deliberate in the terms used in this definition because I have chosen all those specific words for a specific reason. I choose value over software. DevOps is not just automating a pipeline so we can quickly deliver software. That's not the job of DevOps. Here, our goal is to deliver value. So the next term is end user. That was also very carefully chosen. The value we produce must reach our end user. Otherwise, it does not matter like how good the software is. So if the value only reaches the development and QA environment but is held up before reaching production, where it can be actually realized or used by our end user, we're still failing. So that is, the job is not done. So here it is very important to realize that DevOps is not a product. It's not a software. It's not a tool. You cannot just buy DevOps and install it. DevOps is not just automation or infrastructure as code. DevOps is people, the whole team, the whole Scrum team or Agile team who are actually following a specific process enabled by the products to deliver value to our end user. It is actually a term for a group of concepts that, while not all new, have categorized into a movement and are rapidly spreading throughout the technical community. So like any new and popular term, people have somewhat confused and sometimes contradictory impression of what it is. So now I'm going to talk about like what actually DevOps is and what actually DevOps is not. So what it is not. First comes, it's not no ops. So it's not like sometimes operation teams can be afraid that they are taking our jobs. Like some folks think that DevOps means that developers are taking over operations and doing it themselves. So we operation guys are jobless. Part of that is true and part of it isn't. It is a misconception that DevOps is coming from the development side of the house to wipe out operation. No, DevOps and its ascendants in Agile operation are being initiated out of operations teams more often than not. That is because operations folk have realized that our existing principles, processes, and practices have not kept pace with what's needed actually for success in like coming days. So as businessmen and development teams need more agility as the business climate becomes more fast-paced, we operation guys often providing less as we try to solve our problem with more rigidity, and we need a fundamental reorientation to be able to provide systems infrastructure in an effective manner. Now, as we realize some parts of operations need to be automated, that means that either we ops people do some automation development or developers are writing operations code, or actually both. That is scary to some, but it's part of the value of the overall collaborative approach. All the successful teams I have run using this approach have both people with deep dev skill sets and deep ops skill sets working together to create a better overall product. And I have yet to see anyone automate themselves out of a job in high tech as lower level concerns become more automated. Technically skilled staff start solving the higher value problems up to one level. So that's why it's actually not no ops, it's the combination of devs and ops more. Actually it covers and it actually initiated by the ops team more. Then what is next? It's not just tools. DevOps is also not simply implementing a set of tools. One reason why I feel that a more commonly accepted definition of DevOps is needed is that having various confusing and poorly structured definitions increase the risk that people will pass by the theory and implement the processes or tools of DevOps without the principle in mind, which is definitely an anti-pattern. Automation is just the exercise of power, and unwise automation can do as much damage as wise automation can bring benefit. Similarly, Agile practitioners would tell you that just starting to work in iterations or adapting other specific practices without initiating meaningful collaboration is likely to not work out really well. There are some teams at companies I have worked for that adopted some of the methods and or tools of Agile, but not its principle, and the results were like suboptimal. Sure, a tool can be useful in Agile or DevOps, but if you don't know how to use it, then it's like giving an assault weapon to an untrained person. But in the end, fretting about tools should not be called DevOps is misplaced. Like, if I give an example, is playing poker or planning poker agile in the sense that doing it magically gets you agile? No. But it's a common tool used in various agile methodologies, so called it an agile tool is appropriate. Similarly, just because DevOps is not just a sum of the tools doesn't mean that tools specifically designed to run systems in accordance with the DevOps mindset aren't valuable. Yes, they are also valuable. That's why I said, obviously it's a combination of tools, but it's not just tools. Next, the third one is it's not just the culture. Though initially I said that DevOps is a culture, it's a practice, but again, it's not only the culture. Many people insist that DevOps is just culture and you cannot apply the word to a given principle or practice. But I feel like this is overblown and incorrect. Agile has not helped thousands of dev shops because the work on it stopped at culture, with admonitions to our co-workers and the lead practitioners that identified the best practices, simply declaring it was all self-evident and refusing to be any more perspective. Then again, so as the word itself says dev and ops, but again it's not only devs and ops. Some people have complained, what about the security people? What about the network admins? Why leave us out? The point is that all the participants in creating a product or system should collaborate from the beginning. Business folks of various stripes, developers of various stripes, and operation folks of various stripes, and all these include security, network, and whoever else. There's a lot of different kinds of business and developer stakeholders as well. Just because everyone doesn't get a specific call out doesn't mean they aren't included. The original agile development guys were mostly thinking about biz plus dev collaboration, and DevOps is pointing out issues and solutions around dev plus ops collaboration. But the mature result of all this is everyone collaborating. In the sense, DevOps is just a major step for one discipline to join in on the overall culture of agile collaboration that should involve all disciplines in an organization. So whoever is participating in the delivery of the software or service is part of DevOps. So it includes each and everyone from the start of the software to the final delivery to the client. Everyone is part of DevOps. Then sometimes you see that people uses like I am a DevOps engineer, I am a lead DevOps engineer. So I would I would not say it's not a job title, but I would say it's not just a job title. Simply taking an existing ops team and calling them the DevOps team doesn't actually help anything by itself. Nor does changing a job title to DevOps engineer. So, if you don't adopt the values and principles above I mentioned, which require change at an overall system level, not simplify within a given team, you won't get all the benefits actually. However, I am not in the camp that rails that you cannot have DevOps in a job title. It is often used in a job title as a way of distinguish new style DevOps thinking, automation first, dev collaborating, CI running, etc. from grouchy backroom person who aggressively doesn't care what your company does for a living. Some people find value in that, others don't, and that's fine. As a hiring manager myself, I see a clear difference in the fit of applicants when I put it on a job posting for a systems engineer, which provides an incentive for me to keep doing so. So yes, it can be used as a title, but it is not only or just a job title. And now the last part. Yeah, as I said, everyone who is included in the software development is part of DevOps. Every process, every tool is part of DevOps. But again, it is not everything. Sometimes DevOps people get carried away and make grandiose claims that DevOps is about everything everywhere. Since DevOps plugs into the overall structure of a lot of lean and agile thinking, and there are opportunities for that kind of collaboration throughout an organization, it's nice to see all the parallels, but going and re-engineering your business processes isn't really DevOps per se. It is part of an overall, hopefully collaborative and agile corporate culture, but DevOps is specifically about how operations plugs into that. Some folks overreach and end up turning DevOps into a super watered down version of Lean, Agile, or just love for everyone, which is great at the vision level, but as you march down the hierarchy of granularity, you end up mostly dealing with operational integration. Other efforts are worrying about the other parts, but there are still a lot of unsolved problems around the delivery of software and maintenance of services and making it fast, reliable, secure, etc. If someone wants to use what they have learned from DevOps to go to a larger scope corporate consultant, that's fine. But most people involved in DevOps are technical practitioners who are looking for better ways to do their job, not someone else's. Actually, they are doing those jobs, but now they are looking at a better way. In Agile, there is Agile software development, and then there is the larger Agile orientation organization work. I think DevOps is best defined as Agile software delivery and operations, which should similarly work in concert with others working on larger organizational initiatives, but without losing sight of its primary value proposition for the organization. So, another important part of the DevOps culture is continuous integration and continuous delivery, because at that time those integration part or the integration delivery at that time, actually the dev and ops team collaborate with each other, and actually they do it together as a DevOps. So in the continuous integration, if you see, in software engineering, continuous integration is the practice of merging all developer working copies to a shared mainline server several times a day. It cannot be like I will do it only once in a week. No, it has to be continuously done. Continuous integration is a software development practice where members of a team integrate their work frequently. Usually each person integrates at least daily, leading to multiple integrations per day. Each integration is verified by an automated build, including test obviously, to detect integration errors as quickly as possible and as early as possible. Many teams find that this approach leads to significant reduced integration problems and allows a team to develop cohesive software more rapidly. So actually the picture, if you go, so it is the combination of all these things. You will initiate the code, the source code has to be written, then the virtual control system, you can push the code like whether SVN or Git or like TFS, and then build the code, and then some code analysis, and then run automated unit test which already has been written, and those unit tests actually will give the code coverage analysis, and then build the whole artifact, and then set up the test fixtures where it will be tested, then provision and deploy to a test environment, and then in those test environment run all the automated functional tests, and if it passes a certain pass case use case, then actually report will be published, and then it will go for the development team to actually deploy in the production server so that the original end user actually can use the product. Then so actually, so it is CI is the continuation integration part and CD is the continuation delivery. So actually if you see the picture, it is the part of the continuation integration is the part of plan, code, build, and test. And then comes the continuous delivery, which actually after testing, it will release, deploy, and then operate. So why does actually DevOps comes into the picture? So this is the whole picture actually. So if you see, the agile development is only responsible for plan, code, and then build. That is part of the agile development. And then if you add continuous integration with that, that means the testing, then so continuous integration actually covers up to plan, code, build, and test. And then you want to add continuous delivery here. So the continuous delivery includes plan, code, build, test, and then release. Until that is continuous delivery. But as I said in the definition of DevOps, it actually includes the whole thing, from starting the planning to actually deliver the whole working software to the end user so that they can operate. So actually it combines all the agile development, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and some more, which is deploy and operate. So the whole cycle is plan, code, build, then test it, then release it to the production, then deploy it to the production, and then the end user will operate the whole software which they were asking for. So this is the whole flow of the DevOps. And as I said, it is not only the tool or not only the specific people, it's actually the whole practice, whole culture which we need to adopt as a team. And it cannot be adopted in one day. Believe me, lots of company I have seen that actually they hired a DevOps trainer for 1 or 2 days, or like actually they got some training, they attended some training, and then they thought that yeah, we are DevOps, we have lots of DevOps trainee who can do the DevOps. No, obviously you need to attend those training, you need to attend those workshop, you need to see how to deliver it and how to adopt it, and then you need to practice it for a long time so that it can be achieved. So actually this is my contact addresses. So like that is all about today's DevOps webinar, the cultural change. So I'm Saidul Rahman. Actually, this is my Twitter handler and my LinkedIn profile. So if you have any question, you can actually like knock me anytime. So what we can do is like normally I try to take, like it depends on the country, like, and with AgiVetta I try to organize or like take DevOps training session for 2 days. So that's around 8 plus 8, 16 hours session, where actually I practically show how the culture or how the um, whole operation can be like helpful for the dev and ops team and the software industry, and how to actually adopt those. So if you are interested like with any of the session, you can easily contact me, or you can also contact AgiVetta. There are that thing to reach us at. So this is our contact number. This is our website agivetta.com. There we will be find the training schedule for. This is our Facebook page, and if you want to write email or Twitter, LinkedIn, all are providing there. So this is the overall session. So I'll keep it open for another few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and let's see like if there is any question that we can address, like